In this tutorial, I'll be giving you a basic overview of the Divi Builder Blurb module. What this is a simple combination of text and icon or image, and it's commonly used to give a short blurb about your company or the features you offer or about yourself. For example, you might see this on a home page beneath a slider. For example, on this website I'm building here, I have a slider that greets the visitors, and underneath that I have 6 blurbs that goes over some of the things our company does and the features we offer. So that's an example of a blurb module. It's an icon, a title, and some text. And you can choose different icon sizes and colors. For example, here is a unique use of the blurb module where it creates a list because we're using a checkmark icon. And you can also use images. So here's some blurbs in a 1/4 column with images, and here's a blurb in a 1/2 column with an image. So let's dive into the builder and I'll show you how to configure this module. So here's a page I'm building. I would like to add a row of blurbs right under this section here. So I'm going to edit this page and scroll down, and I'm going to add a new row. And I would like to add 4 blurbs in a 4/1/4 column. So I'm going to add this column here. I'm going to drag this row up, and I'm going to click the Insert Modules button here to insert my first blurb. So I'm going to locate the blurb module, and this will open up the blurb module settings. You'll notice General Settings, Advanced Design Settings, and Custom CSS. As a general philosophy, everything you need to configure the module and create a great blurb module is located here in the general settings. But if you'd like to get a little bit more advanced and have more control over, font sizes, colors, line heights, letter spacing, all that great stuff, then you can dive into the advanced design settings, and we have all kinds of great stuff here that you can play with. And if you'd like to get a more in-depth tutorial about advanced design settings, be sure to check out our advanced design settings tutorial, as well as custom CSS. We have a tutorial about that, and you can basically apply custom CSS to individual parts of the module. But heading back to the general settings, I'm going to go over each of these. First up is our title. This is the main title that appears below the icon in the blurb module. So I'm just going to type in blurb title. Next we have the URL. If you'd like that title to be linked somewhere, you can add a URL there. In this case, I'm going to leave it blank. If you had added a URL there, you can choose to have that URL open in a new window or not. Next up, you can choose to either use an icon for your blurb or an image. In this case, I'm going to choose to use an icon. So I'm going to click the Use Icon button. And then you get a list of all the different icons you can choose for this blurb. So I'm going to scroll down and find a nice icon for this. I selected my icon. Next up, you can choose the color of the icon. And so I can choose green here, for example. And if you ever want to get a quick, preview of what you're building, you can always click the preview icon here, and that'll give you a look at your blurb. So here's my blurb with the green icon and my blurb title. So that's how it looks so far. And if I like to change it up, and for example, use a circle icon, which will create a colored circle, and the icon will be inside of it. Instead of just having the icon plain by itself, I can choose to do that. And then you can choose the circle color as well. So I might choose to have blue circle, but a white icon. And if you take a look at that, it's going to look a little different. There's going to be a blue circle and a white icon inside of it. So that's the circle icon option. You can choose to have a border as well if you want to add a border to the icon. So I could add, a purple border. You can choose icon placement, so you can either have it above the text or to the left of the text. So I'll change it to the left. We can take a look at what that looks like. You can choose the animation for the icon. So as you scroll down the page, the icon or image you're using in your blurb is going to animate it in either from the top, left, right, bottom, or you can disable animation altogether. Finally, text color. You can choose between light and dark text color. In this case, I have a light background, so I'm going to want to stick with dark text. And then you can choose the orientation, whether it be left, centered, right, or justified. Next up is the content of our module, which will be placed in a smaller text size below our title. So I can paste in some content here. And now I've basically configured every part of the module, and I can get a look at what that looks like by clicking the preview icon. So I have my text here, my title, my circle icon with a purple border, which is now on the left instead of on top. And my content here, which is looking like kind of a lot of content. So maybe I'll shorten that up a bit. And finally, we have our admin label, CSS ID, and CSS class if you'd like to apply any custom CSS in your child theme, for example. So I'm going to save and exit. And since I want to have 4 of these blurbs on this page, I'm going to duplicate this 3 times, bring it over. And then I'm going to switch it up on a couple of these modules. So I'm going to go into here. I'm going to switch the icon. And I'm not going to use a circle icon for this one. And I'm going to save. And maybe for this one, I'll turn off the border. Save. And let's update and see what we have so far. So now I've created 4 blurbs. Just kind of put some random content in there. Obviously, you'd want to add, content that was specific to your business. So now we have 3 blurbs here. And if you notice, I failed to change the color of this blurb icon, so it's white. You can't see it. So I'd probably want to fix that. Go back in here, change the icon color to maybe purple. And now you can see that's going to show up when I do my preview. By the way, when you're in this preview mode, you can toggle between our different responsive tabs to get a look at that, what your site will look like at different screen sizes. Now you can also choose to use an image. So if you'd rather use an image instead of an icon, you can go up to the beginning here and turn off the use icon option and upload an image instead. So I can choose from various images here that I have uploaded. I'll choose this nice Divi logo and save. And if we take a look at our site now, you'll see that we have 4 blurbs. Some of them are using icons. One of them is using an image, as you can see here that I just added. Some of them have a border, others don't. And yeah, that's a basic overview of the Blurb module. And like I said, there's a bunch of different layouts you can create with this. So if you go back to our blurbs page that I showed you initially, you can choose to center the icons, which will allow them to be much bigger. So right now, when they're on the left, they have less room, and so they'll be a bit smaller. And you can have images as well, and depending on the column size that you place the module, that will determine how big the image can be. So obviously, if you place a big image like this into a smaller column, it's going to shrink down accordingly. And that's a basic overview of the general settings of the Blurb module. But as with any module, you can also choose to dive into the advanced design settings. I'm not going to get too crazy with those right now, but I'll give you a brief overview of how those work. As with any module, if you go into the advanced design settings tab, you have a bunch of great settings to play with. For example, you could change the header font. You might want to make it bold and all caps, and even change the font. So if I get a preview of that, you're going to see that here my blurb title has been changed accordingly. I have bold text, all caps, different font. And you can do that for everything. So you can customize just about anything. You can customize the body font as well, and the icon, background color, background image, custom padding, all kinds of great stuff in the advanced design settings. Basically, anything you could ever want to customize can be customized here. That's the beauty of the advanced design settings. And if you want to have a little bit more control over your module's appearance, feel free to dive in there. So that's a basic overview of the Blurb module inside of the Divi Builder.